We thank you for this wonderful day that you've given us. Lord, we thank you for this opportunity to meet here tonight and do the business of our county. Lord, we ask you to give us the strength and wisdom and the courage to make good decisions here. Lord, we ask you to watch over us, guide us, keep us safe and in your love. Most of all, we thank you for Jesus. For it's in his precious holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Darnell, could I get you to call roll, please?
Todd Berry. Robert Witherow. Here. Shane Chandler.
Here.
Mac Pilkerton.
Here.
Robert Qualls.
Here.
David Brogdon.
Here.
Harold Williams.
Here.
Larry Evans. Gary Peeler.
Here.
Wayne Durham.
Here.
Robert Comer.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we do have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. At this time, I'd like to recognize all the visitors in the crowd, and if you all did not, please do so as you exit. There's a sign-in sheet on the podium in the hallway. We'll move into the approval of the minutes. Everybody looked over the minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I move we accept the minutes as presented.
Second, R.J. Comer.
Okay, have a motion by Robert Witherow and a second by R.J. Comer to accept the minutes as they stand. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. At this time, we'll move into the items. Item number 1, Mayor Rowell would like to present to us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Board, I appreciate y'all taking time to let me speak to you for a few minutes. So I'll try to move out of your way quickly. One, I want to thank you for your work you do. I know y'all got a tough job. You've been dealing with a lot of issues here lately, and I appreciate your work. It's a thankless job sometimes, but let us know you do appreciate you and what y'all had to do on that. Just want to let, because along with all the issues we've had, we had talked some time ago inside the commission with staff about putting together a new comprehensive land use plan. Our intentions were to get that up and going this past March. We had some discussions, kind of following the lead of what Williamson County had done. I met with Mayor Rogers Anderson over there and talked to him several times about what they had done. They were finishing up on a draft plan that they had been working on, and he shared that with us back probably in the middle of March, and I was hoping I could be here to share it with y'all, but because of COVID and other issues that have arisen, then there was never a good time for that. But we're in a situation now, because of issues you dealt with and the community has to deal with, we want to go and start having that discussion now. We're not at a point to make any kind of proposal, but I do have an example of what Williamson County has done, and I just want to give that to y'all for y'all's review to make some notes on it as we move forward. We think the process, looking at some of the other communities that have done this, have gone back, and it's really a year-long process to do it correctly. We need to have help doing this. We don't have the staff and expertise to do it. We'll have to put out a request for qualifications like the Williamson County and the other communities we've talked to get some help to do this. So we want to move forward on this, and we're hoping we can start the RFQ process during the month of October with a goal of having some help picked to help us get things done by starting in January, and it'd probably be like a year-long process. So it's something that won't be done in a vacuum, because we obviously need y'all's input and expertise on what you do, but more importantly, we need the community's input and expertise. This is a long-term plan that will take a look at land uses in this county long after most of us, or maybe all of us, are gone from these boards and these positions. So again, it's redundant to say what y'all had to deal with and what the commission's dealt with. This is none too early to get on this situation. And I've got copies here, and for the gentlemen and I think both gentlemen online, we will send you the draft copies of this for your review. I'll have my staff email that to you tomorrow. But I made bound copies for each of y'all. We didn't do it presentation style, but it's effective enough. Y'all can read this and take a look at it and see what Williamson County did. And we're really looking at doing that. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you because that's there for y'all to read, but if I can defog for a minute, I do want to read their executive summary because I think it speaks to what we'd like to do here in Dickson County. I want to read exactly as theirs is. The Williamson County Comprehensive Land Use Plan represents a vision for the future growth and preservation of unincorporated areas of Williamson County. The plan outlines the county's policy for desired land use patterns, rural preservation efforts, open space, and natural resource protection, the quality and the character of growth, and the provision of public service and facilities. The land should be utilized in a couple of ways. First, the plan should be used as a basis for creating implementation tools such as updated zoning regulations designed to ensure that the vision articulated in the plan becomes a reality. To that end, the zoning and ordinance and zoning map will be updated as to be more aligned with the vision and goals of the plan. Second, the plan should be used by elected and appointed officials as the guide for making decisions regarding investments in infrastructure, public facilities, and amenities. And that's our executive summary on that, and I'll be glad to, I've got a box here and I'll get those passed out to you. We're also working at this time with the city of Dickson about a transportation plan. We had put those RFQs out at the same time we were working on this. We're trying to get them to walk together, but once again, because of COVID-related activities, we had to back off on the interviews on that. The city of Dickson staff and highway department, Mr. Darnell, they'll be doing interviews next week for those on the transportation plan. That's because of the city of Dickson County, and we've certainly invited Burns and White Bluff to be a part of that, because the most of traffic issues, we're going to take care of traffic issues all over the county, but because of the multiple jurisdictions in the south end of the county, there'll be overlap. So as we work on a road plan in unincorporated Dickson County, we want to make sure that it meshes with what White Bluff, Burns, and city of Dickson do. So that way there's no redundancy. We're not going back and having to fix an issue in 10 or 20 years from now, that we can have it planned. So we're going to, even though, as y'all know, the growth areas, growth boundaries, there's a discussion about opening that back up, and we want to look at that again in the near future with this. But we think this is the best first step to move forward as we go. But obviously, we do need y'all's assistance and input. We need the citizens' input on this. It's not going to be done in a vacuum. This is not a Dickson County government plan. This is a Dickson County people's plan. And we want all the people to have a say in it so it can have the kind of community that people envision for the next 20 years or more. So at this point in time, I would like to hand out these copies. And I apologize for the two of y'all online that we didn't get them, but we will make sure that we have those to you. Is it okay to hand these out?
Yes, sir. Sir. You need some help?
I gave one too many. I didn't make enough for staff, so I'm going to keep.
I didn't get one. Thank you, sir.
Everybody here to get one? Again, feel free to make notes on this. I'm sorry. To make notes on it, it's your copy. As you can see, it's we use the cheap paper, so it's not presentation ready. So feel free to mark it up and do what you like to. But again, I hope to be back before you in November, and kind of update you where we are on the RFQ process. But Chairman, if anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Okay. Commission, anybody have any questions for the mayor?
I just want to thank you for coming and involving us in this process and getting it started. We're looking forward to working with you on it.
That's great. Thank you, Mr. Comer.
And Mayor, I just appreciate you working with Rogers Anderson. I've dealt with him myself over there on several issues when I worked in Franklin, and he's a real good guy to deal with.
Appreciate it, Commissioner Wetterow. He is. He's good. He's been a mentor. He's one of those mayors that's been around a long time. So he's kind of one of our go-to guys here in Middle Tennessee to talk to.
He invited me to go with him several times on several things that they were doing over there, and because of where I worked and what I was doing, and when I was a county commissioner as well. And he's real good, and I would say if anybody has any questions, I'm sure any input he would, or any feedback, he would appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, and appreciate taking time. I know you'll have a busy agenda, but I appreciate you giving me about that 10 minutes. But if you have any questions or input in the meantime or questions about that, feel free to call my office. I'll be glad to talk to you about it. Thanks, everyone.
Yes, sir. We'll now move into item number 2, final plat of Catherine A. Booker Property Subdivision Phase 2, map 069, parcel 33.02, 4.49 acres, Wilson Hollow Road, Dickson, Tennessee, A1 Agriculture, 3rd District.
Okay, you'll see as one of your handouts, was what was originally Lot 1 that was cut out, and the rest you'll see, that'll be lots 2, 3, and 4. Yeah,
No, that's
right,
fine.
at this
Yeah,
time,
no
we can't
overhead,
until we get
no.
that other. So you had a copy of the plat from Mr. Christie there, and your aerial, and your zoning map. You'll see it's on Wilson Hollow Road. You also have a note there from Sylvia Tennessee Pond. There is no water close, so the lots will have to be on well water. Mr. Collins?
Okay, let's see, in a review of this request, I got a copy of the Lot 1 Catherine Booker property, that subdivision that was approved administratively in May of 2013. So I don't know if that's, it looks like you did in fact get a copy of that subdivision plat. Wilson Hollow Road is considered a minor status road per our county thoroughfare plan. Our Dickson County Growth Plan, as well as the current land use and transportation plan, envisions this area for rural preservation area for very low density and agricultural development. Under zoning issues, due to the orientation on the property, there's an existing house on the proposed Lot 2 that encroaches the building envelope in multiple places by the way it's turned. And the way that staff would review this is the structure, although residential single-family dwellings are permitted by right in the A1 zone, the structure is considered non-compliant with our building setbacks. So if the house is ever added onto or replaced by a new house, then it should be done so in a compliant manner. Ultimately, the goal here would be where the degree of non-compliance is not increased. In other words, where it overhangs the setback lines per the building envelope, that any addition or replacement would not keep extending further beyond those setbacks. That's the only zoning issue I had for this item. It's already mentioned that about Sylvia Tennessee City Pond utility that's within the general area of this property, but it's a very good distance away from this property in question. There's individual wells for multiple landowners along Wilson Hollow Road. According to the plat, it looks like there's also an existing well that's being utilized for the proposed Lot 2 in that dwelling. Let's see. Moving on to the second page of my comments. The surveyor does provide in note number 2 on the plat that lots 2 through 4 have not been evaluated for well suitability. So even if these lots are approved, then if the wells, if it turns out that wells cannot be brought onto any of these lots 3 and 4, then a building permit would be, the ability to get a building permit would be inhibited. Lot 2, if, as you notice, has an elongated shape to it. And oftentimes we might refer to that as a flag-shaped lot. But, per our regulations and the subdivision regulations, the flag-shaped lots are discouraged. However, as this seems to be a very peculiar and unique circumstance with the way that they've got the property laid out for Lot 2, staff suggests that the applicant request a variance for relief from our standard for the flag-shaped lots. Let's see, there's, according to Darren, according to my sources, it looks like there's a water course that cuts across a portion of Lot 2 and then cuts back over again onto Lot 4, I believe, before it continues northward. It appears with this second phase that anytime that we do have a water course that cuts across property, we do it has been staff's recommendation to apply an unobstructed drainage easement of at least 10 feet in width and noted on the plat so that no development will come into and encumber the purpose of that water course. Other than that, just the lack of all necessary signatures and adding a label of the White Oak Branch tributary and that drainage easement for that portion of this branch that runs across the property in question. And a recommended addition would be, that notation of a variance from the subdivision regulations for the Lot 2's design. At this time, that's all the comments I've got.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Darnell, we would have to do that in 2 parts then, if we
can,
did
unless you wanna
recommend a
increase-
variance?
Yeah, the variance, then,
Well,
So what exactly is the variance we have to ask for? I mean, I'm used to seeing flag-shaped lots where there's not enough road frontage, and the actual pole of the flag shape is what the
Right,
road
I think some of
frontage
Mr.
is.
Collins' concerns were the 4-to-1 ratio, maybe.
That's correct.
Well, that's what we need to know in order to
Right, and
request a variance.
that section 4-102 that I cited is referring to the 1-to-4 ratio.
Well, I think the flag-shaped lots that, we were really concerned about is the ones that went out for the road right of way, and they would have 50 feet to the road and then go back 1,000 feet or something, and then have an open area. And I don't think this encompasses that. I'm thinking, Mr. Christie, is this for a secondary septic area is the reason this lot shaped this way, or is this just some leftover property added to this?
It's a combination of both. That's what was left behind there, and they had to have a duplicate area since we could not find a record for the existing old house. And anytime that happens, Mr. Robinson, the Division of Water Resources, make us map a duplicate area.
Right.
And the only alternative to that
Eh,
is whether it would be right there where I've got Lot 2,
Right.
and that's where the grandkids have a baseball field, so I think they would.
I'm real familiar with it down there, so yeah.
Now, to the 4-to-1, depth to width ratio, I may be misinterpreting that, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong. I'm always thinking, if you got 100 foot at the road, you can't go back 400 foot. And of course, if you look at the depth of this lot, it's like a 1-to-1 ratio. And I look at it more like you do. You can't have a 50-foot strip going back
Right.
and opening up less than 5 acres. Now, I may be wrong in my
Right.
interpretation.
And I think that's where the flag lots cause a problem, and what we don't wanna do in the county anymore.
Because it's my
But-
understanding, the reason why, and rightly so, that was written in there is because years ago,
Oh,
we
I
had a bunch of narrow, 100-foot by 1,000-foot, 1,200-foot lots and put in the county.
Exactly.
We need to put something in there.
I know where there's some at now, that, yes. But I don't think I don't think the flag lot, I mean, yes, it does kind of have that essence, but I think it's because of the sewer system needing that area and stuff, so I don't think that's a concern on this one. So I'm, it's kind of on the borderline of being my area or not, so, Mr. Chairman, I would like to, move that we, accept the Wilson Hollow Road, subdivision.
Okay. Do you want to add the staff comments? about
Yes,
the
and add the
drainage
staff
easement?
comments about the drainage easement there
And
as
then,
well.
then we'll take action on the variance secondly.
Well, I don't know that we really need a variance on it. It's, like I said, the flag, it's not going out to the road right away. It's just, you know, it's a funny looking lot to clean up, you know, what's left, because if it cut it off, you know, if you just cut that off on where it borders lot 1 right there, then you're just gonna have an unusable piece of property right there. It's just being, you know, they're attaching it to something that's viable.
Mr. Collins, what's your opinion?
Mr. Chairman, I think that, you know, in light of our interpretation of this standard, I think it's certainly leans towards correct interpretation, that when we're dealing with lot frontage and it being narrow on the lot frontage and being elongated, then that's definitely the more textbook in spirit and intent behind the 4-to-1 ratio that we have. So I'm certainly inclined to just ignore that comment I have and
don't worry about the
focus on
variance.
focus on the drainage easement.
Mr. Chairman, I'm just wondering, for the sake of clarity for posterity, years down the road, if we shouldn't go ahead and approve this as a variance where there isn't any question. I totally agree.
That's kind of where I'm at.
The intent of the regulation is exactly what we're saying. For me to not have a 50-foot road frontage cut off my place and then in the back it flags out into 1,000 by 1,000. We all know that's what we're trying not to do. But because this technically violates that language, I think it would be wise to pass a variance for it. I would certainly favor passing that variance.
Okay.
And then let's go ahead and vote on the subdivision plat as a whole. I have a question about that, but I think we need to clear the variance up first.
Mr. Woodrow,
I will withdraw my motion
Okay.
and say that we would proceed with a variance.
so you want to make a motion for a variance?
I will
And
make
Mr.
a
Qualls, you
motion
want to
that we-
second it?
That we have a variance for the lot number 2 on this Wilson Hollow Road subdivision.
Yes, sir. Any further discussion? If not, we'll do a roll call vote on the variance.
Robert Witherow,
Yes.
Shane Chandler,
Yes.
Mac Pilkerton. Yes. Robert Qualls,
Yes.
David Brogdon,
Yes.
Harold Williams,
Yes.
Larry Evans, Gary Peeler,
Yes.
Wayne Durham,
Yes.
Robert Comer.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Variance passes, and now we'll move in and have a proper motion by Robert Woodrow to approve this final plat of the Catherine A. Booker property subdivision Phase 2 with staff comments of the drain easement
Yes.
and the property building permits pertaining to the well.
Yeah, they're gonna have to provide a certificate from a viable well driller before they can get their permit.
Correct.
Same way they're gonna have to do with sewer anyhow,
Okay.
so, I mean, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Darnell, if a house is not on city water, you have to provide a certificate from a well driller or.
You have to have a certificate stating you do have access to water, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I'll
So that's a moot point.
Okay.
I'll second his motion. Now,
Have a-
is there a typical standard that this well has to be capable under 98% of climatic conditions to provide 450 gallons a day of or something like that?
That would be through the state. We don't
Yeah.
have anything like
That's
that.
through the
Okay, I don't know what they consider an adequate amount of water, but
Right.
I know no reputable well driller is gonna risk his license and his reputation for something that's only gonna get a trickle out of the ground.
Correct. They
So-
would have to have a statement
Yeah.
saying that it is good fresh water that they can use.
Yeah.
and it is-
Yeah. I do have a proper motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor state aye.
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 I think
Opposed?
We'll do a roll call.
Do a
we need a roll
Yeah,
call,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah,
Robert Witherow,
Yes.
Shane Chandler,
yes.
Mac Pilkerton,
Yes.
Robert Qualls,
Yes.
David Brogdon,
Yes.
Harold Williams,
Yes.
Larry Evans, Gary Peeler,
Yes.
Wayne Durham,
Yes.
Robert Comer.
Yes.
Okay,
Chairman, motion carries.
pass. All right, we'll now move into item number 3, which is the vacation of the Cambridge Estates. Map 1291, parcels 1.00-17.00, 32.7 acres, Cambridge Boulevard Lane, Circle, Dickson, Tennessee, R1, residential, 7th District.
Now this, you'll see, this was part of the property owned by Jonna Watson. She also owned the other 268 acres, the R1 and R2 PUD. She has since sold the complete property, including Cambridge Estates. At some time in the future, the owners will come back and try to rezone it back to A1, but right now, we're trying to vacate Cambridge Estates. There was 13 lots. She never sold any of the lots. One question that was brought up was from Michael Rogers from the Water Authority. And Ron, all of you have a copy of that note where they're gonna abandon it there at the gate that's there, and they're gonna remove the fire hydrants. This will be two parts, because right now we also have a road bond on this. For the first part, you will vacate the plat, then we'll have to vacate also the road bond coverage. Mr. Collins?
Mr. Chairman, as far as my comments, they are rather brief. Under planning issues, this area is envisioned for a low to medium density residential development. It's not, it's within close proximity to the city of Dickson's corporate limits. However, as I understand it, the applicant's purpose for vacating this plat is to recombine the lots and return it much more to its former state long before it was rezoned to R1. As far as the plat issues, I know that I mentioned in my initial comments that a recorded plat would be required. I've since writing this, I have checked with the registrar's office for some examples of vacated plats, and there's not that many to choose from, and certainly not many that I've reviewed with the Planning Commission since I've been here. So I think as far as the what legal instruments to provide, it certainly seems to be that having a document to record at the registrar's office that shows the official action of vacating said subdivision as it's so referenced by the registrar's office. There was a letter, of course, provided by the applicant indicating their request as far as the surety in place. And with this information from Mr. Rogers at the Water Authority, it's certainly it will require the the Planning Commission to take an action to recommend releasing that surety, and there may also be that language in our discussion about the addressing the Water Authority's concerns with the infrastructure.
Which one thing they did require, which Ron has added, they have put a box on there where they'll sign off abandoning all the lines and removing the fire hydrants.
Okay. Is that all you have, Mr. Collins? Yes, sir. Mr. Brenner, you have anything?
No, that's pretty much it. They
Okay.
just wanna dissolve it, be done with it, put the whole thing back together.
Good deal.
Hey, Ron, do you know, do they have to do anything to the underground electrical as well?
That I don't know.
Okay.
We usually don't address that on the plats anyway.
No, okay, yeah, since water is the only thing that would be on the plat, okay, all right.
Okay. What's the will of the board?
Well, I make a motion to accept the plat for the vacation of Cambridge Estates.
Okay, have a proper motion by Harold Williams to accept the vacation of Cambridge Estates.
R.J. Comer, I'll second.
Have a second by R.J. Comer. Any further discussion? If not, we'll do a roll call.
Robert, Robert Witherow,
Yes.
Shane Chandler,
Yes.
Mac Pilkerton,
Yes.
Robert Qualls,
Yes.
David Brogdon,
Yes.
Harold Williams,
My dogs are gonna be sad because they won't be able to walk back there anymore, but yes.
Larry Evans, Gary Peeler,
Yes.
Wayne Durham,
Yes.
Robert Comer.
Yes.
Okay, then the second issue will be the release of the surety bond on it.
Okay. We have to take action on the surety bond to release it.
They've put a gate up there at the very start of this, and that's where it will start. They will abandon all the roads.
Okay.
I make a motion that we release is it $70,000?
Yes, it
The
is.
$70,000 surety bond, since there's not a need for it
Do you
anymore.
want that note put on the plat too?
Sure, yeah,
I mean,
please
there's
put
something
the,
that
yeah.
the county releases
Suspension or
all.
release of the surety bond
Okay.
is included.
Have a proper motion by Harold Williams to release the $70,000 surety bond to Cambridge Estates.
R.J. Comer
Was
will
this
second.
something that she posted personally, Mr. Chandler, or was this a letter of credit or a
This
bond,
was,
company bond?
I think there was a CD or letter of credit. We do have a copy of that in the
Okay,
office.
so we don't need to specify what it is, just
No,
that we know.
no, just
All right,
releasing
great.
it.
She posted it as the developer, she was the
Okay,
developer.
yeah.
Okay, so I do have a proper motion by Harold Williams and a proper second by R.J. Comer. Do we have further discussion?
I just have one question. Are the roads up to that gate, have they been accepted by the county? Are they in the hands of the county now, or are they?
Yes, yeah, Meadowwood Lane and Meadowlark Court are county roads.
Okay, so up to that gate is a county road, and then
Correct.
after that is
Gonna
what
be
we're
private
releasing?
property, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so, no further discussion, we'll do a roll call vote. Yes is to suspend the bond.
Robert Witherow,
Yes.
Shane Chandler,
Yes.
Mac Pilkerton,
Yes.
Robert Qualls,
Yes,
David Brogdon,
Yes.
Harold Williams,
Yes,
Larry Evans, Gary Peeler,
Yes.
Wayne Durham,
Yes.
Robert Comer.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, motion carries.
Thank you. Yes, sir. We do have another item that did not make it. The mayor and the county commission had received a request. Legal had not finished reviewing it at this time, and I'm guessing that's why we have such a large audience. You care to address that any further, Mr. Darnell?
At this time, we have not been able to review it, and legal has not reviewed it, and it is not on tonight's agenda.
So, with that being said, we'll now move into other business. We have a FEMA resolution.
This is something, the last time we've updated the FEMA maps, some of them were in 2016. This is something they do from time to time, and they had reviewed and updated some. They were late getting this out. The new cutoff date to have this in place is January of 2021. If we got the resolution, we can adjust the wording on it if we need to, but we have to set it up where it goes to a public hearing at the county commission, then it's a final reading, have it in place before their deadline in January. Mr. Collins, you have any comments on it?
Just the additional comments is that the model that was submitted to us for adoption just needs to have some adjustments to numbering and
Right.
subsection modification, and I think there was a label or two pertaining to the legislative body, the county commission's title. So those are grammatical
Right.
type fixes.
And that is
won't
something
take
we can
much.
work on. I can send you another copy of that.
Yes.
It's just something, since they were shut down, they got behind on it, and it has to be in place by January deadline.
So is the office gonna do the checks on the, I'll say, plats isn't the right word, but
The resolution, we can
Panels.
make corrections, yes. Everybody that had email, we sent it, you a copy of it.
right?
And if you see anything on there, we have to change some of where it says articles to the actual number of what it was. And what we will do, we will redo the whole section as one unit. But most of the wording is exactly the same as what's in there now, except for the map dedication numbers where they've been revised.
Okay.
And they actually sent us the paper copies. We received them earlier this week.
And that, so what the planning commission is concerned about is the resolution, the wording of the resolution.
Correct.
But the office still has some work to do to check those
Correct.
panels and just make sure.
Correct. But we
things
just
are-
need
things
to
are
approval
correct.
for that, to send it as a public hearing, to get everything in place, to get it passed by the deadline. If not, Dickson County is under the National Flood Insurance Program. We want to make sure we keep that available. Because what it looks like, some of the flood areas, they've probably increased.
But we can approve this pending these grammatical and
Correct.
factual
Correct.
corrections. Kind of the way we approve stuff pending the
Correct.
signatures
And you
and all
have a
that.
copy of it that was sent
Yeah,
by
yeah,
email.
that's, I wanted to
You know.
make sure I was,
Yes.
understood what I was
If you see
reading.
anything that needs to be corrected, let me know, and we can, I got the master in the office that we can correct.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do in that case, Mr. Chairman, is move our approval to send this on into the public hearing process with the stipulation and understanding that grammatical, minor factual, numerical, and other errors can be
This
corrected.
come from FEMA, and a lot of words they
Yeah.
used is Article 1, Article 2, where
Yeah.
ours is actually Chapter 7 with a number. So that's just
Does the
as far as-
motion need to include that? I'll make
if
it
you want to,
include.
but that's something we work on, and we'll have that in the next week or two. If you see anything in that, look through it,
Okay.
but mostly it's going to be word for word what we got, except for the map changes.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with moving, let's approve that pending those minor changes that will become apparent the need for them as we study it.
Okay, so I do have a proper motion by Robert Qualls to send the FEMA resolution on to was it public?
The public hearing
Public hearing,
process,
it'd be in October.
Public hearing process
Yeah.
with the staff corrections.
yes,
Correct.
pending staff corrections.
Okay, do I have a second? Have a second by Robert Woodrow. Any further discussion in this matter? If not, we'll do a roll call vote.
Robert Withrow,
Yes.
Shane Chandler,
Yes.
Mac Pilkerton,
Yes.
Robert Qualls,
Yes,
David Brogdon, Harold Williams,
Yes,
Larry Evans, Gary Peeler,
Yes.
Wayne Durham,
Yes.
Robert Comer.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the motion carries.
Thank you. With that, that's all of our scheduled business. Anybody else have anything?
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to say that our Dickson County Fair is open and running, and, because of so many things that have been canceled, I encourage you to go out and just use common sense in your social distancing. Also, the Rippavilla Plantation is having their extravaganza this weekend. They have the Mule Museum, and going to be a pretty good little tractor show, and lots of fun and games for the kids and all. And it's, once again, just use common sense, and would love everybody to come.
Thank you. The subcommittee for the traffic study revision met this evening prior to this meeting. It's a very productive meeting. I think we'll be ready to present something.
You want to meet at 6
Soon.
o'clock before next month's meeting?
Yes, 6 o'clock prior to the next month's meeting, and that will be, the next scheduled meeting will be Thursday, October the 8th, 2020, in the
Correct.
Dickson County Courthouse Annex.